All right, and we're here to beat Cop Sky. Hopefully, the only the question is if this is actually broadcasting live, and we're supposed to look at the camera.
If we started up just now and everything's working, this is the first time.
It'll be a first time.
This is the first time that's ever happened.
This is the Beat Cop Sky podcast live. I hope on YouTube and on Facebook.
I forgot I'm wearing my own shirt.
My name is Lieutenant David Haynes, and I am a Chicago police officer and an award-winning Chicago police officer, an award-winning photographer, and pending, I hope, award-winning another award.
What is that?
I'm in another photography thing that we get the results in 2 weeks. So.
Damn.
And but I am even though I am a Chicago police officer and I do work overnights in 16th District, I do not speak for the Chicago Police Department. So I only speak for myself, and we don't really talk about police stuff. And this is?
I'm Bill Garlington. I'm an award-winning author and a columnist and a public speaker and a gadfly.
Wait,
and an original buffalo.
You want an award for public speaking?
No, I just throw that in there.
Oh.
If you look at the punctuation, I'm not lying.
Yep. So what are you smoking?
I am smoking an early morning pipe.
One of my absolute favorite tobaccos.
And I'm going to give you half. If you get a zip bag, I'm going to give you half. There, it looks like that. Really good stuff. And hopefully...
I'm smoking nightcap tobacco, which is also one of my favorites, but not one of my wife's favorites. For some reason, she doesn't like the smell of this.
I learned something about this nightcap stuff. And on Saturday, I did this event all day, and afterwards, me and a couple other guys went to Big Mike's. And we were smoking. And granted, there may have been some alcohol involved, right? But I filled up a pipe with the nightcap, and I was knocking it back on top of an Alex Bradley Magic Toast. After Alex Bradley Magic Toast, and I started smoking nightcap, and I got over tobaccoed, over nicotine, and I had to leave. I felt weird.
Yeah, that happens.
I got sick. I had to go. It was the strangest thing. Obviously, you got to be careful with that stuff.
All right, so when you talk, you're supposed to be looking at the camera.
Okay, I'm trying. I'm trying. So.
All right. So, all right. So what? I got a few topics this week actually.
Here we go.
Now, okay. The last few weeks, just as a lesson, we have not done a live podcast the last few weeks, partially because my fan and my computer broke, and it took the Geek Squad 2-3 weeks to get it done. But they did a fantastic job, and it didn't cost me anything. So,
bunch of geeks.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure we're focused. That was one thing. But so what we've been doing is we took the camera out and we did a short video because it was freezing cold and Chris is kind of a wuss. And
I'm quite a wuss. I own up to my wussitude, man.
And we went and
I have
filmed
Florida blood.
So we filmed one day. We went out to the golf course and just filmed a quick review of something we ate. And then last week, it was already last week, right? It seems like it's been a while. But we went out and actually loaded the camera into the car, drove down to Three Happiness and in Chinatown, and we recorded the podcast while we were driving in the car. I did not get any response. Did anybody?
Somebody actually, somebody out of the blue did a watch party for it. They did their own watch party for it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was very cool. Most of that podcast is Dave talking about his furnace. So
yeah,
I say 90% of it is. But we should do a new podcast called Furnace Talk.
And you know what? I got my furnace installed. It looks beautiful.
And here it is. Welcome to Furnace Talk.
And the day after I got my furnace installed, the refrigerator broke down, and it's now taken us over a week to get the refrigerator fixed.
Out of the frying pan into the ice. Nope, that doesn't work.
No.
Nope. Let's talk about the things that have gone wrong this week, shall we? You first. You've lost a furnace and a refrigerator. Shall we mourn your refrigerator? A moment of silence.
I also started doing my taxes, and this is going to be the first year where I actually going to have to pay taxes when
Is it because of the bribes?
Over $30,000 I've already paid is not quite enough.
So that's because you did not make your quota.
Right.
As a police officer.
No, actually, it's because my daughter now, even though she's still in school and not over 21, it has basically a full-time job. We lost her as a what do you call that? A deduction.
Yeah,
a dependent.
We're losing my daughter this year because she's 27.
What are you talking about? You lost her 6 years ago.
No. Your kids stay on your insurance. Oh, taxes.
Taxes.
Right, taxes. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of insurance for some reason.
For those of you who are listening at the IRS, you can get that at bullgarlington@gmail.com.
Good luck.
You could subpoena his
Good luck.
records for the last several years.
Bring your rockin' turnip kit because no.
So so this we now we're down to one dependent, and we've paid off most of our house, which means we're not paying as much interest. So this year I'm gonna have to actually pay tax. I told my wife that yesterday. And she
You need to
ignored me.
find something to screw it all up.
Yeah.
I started a failing business, and it helps me a lot.
Wait, can I tell you? Okay. Actually, you haven't filled out a W-4 in years, so you probably wouldn't find this.
No,
as
I do
humorous.
1099s.
All right. I don't know. A few years ago, I was telling my wife, I said, your work is not taking enough money out of your check. I'm not interested in getting a huge check back at the end. I don't want to give the government any more money of mine than they're required.
Right. Nobody does.
Yeah. If I'm at zero, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I don't need to get a return. I just don't want to send a check. That's the
Right.
way I look at it. And but I told my wife, I said, your work is not taking enough money out of your paycheck. You need to increase the amount of money. And so I said, fill out your W-4, make sure it's filled out so you have zero dependents, so they take the maximum out of your paycheck. So she called me up. This is going back a few years, but she's calling me up and she's going over to W-4 and she's like, okay, wait, it says to take, if you're married, put 1, and if you're single, put 0. I said, put 0. She goes, I don't want to say I'm not married. And I'm like, no, all it means is that they'll take a little bit more money out of your check. If you put a dependent, they take less money. It's my new furnace. Hopefully it won't hear. I know it sounds. You can hear it coming out of the vent.
It's working. So
I just hope that does. I actually am wondering how it's going to sound on the podcast.
I can only hear it in the room. I can't hear it on the headphones.
All right.
So
and then they get to the point. Well, you have to put down how many kids you have.
9.
I said 0. Put down 0. She goes, I'm not going to say I don't have any kids. I'm just like, this is. I want you. So I was like, all right, then put down whatever you want, but tell them to take $200 extra out of your check every month. Cause
how did it work out? What?
We're still paying. So anyway, that's my tax. That's taxes, furnaces, and refrigerators. That's our tax, furnace, and fridge.
Our other
segment.
podcast.
Yeah.
I had car problems this week.
Oh really? Wait, you just got a brand new car.
Yep.
What kind of car problems?
Well, first of all, I was taking my wife to the airport because she travels all the goddamn time. And
Without you.
Without me. We went to freaking Montreal and then Bloomington, Indiana. Bloomington, Indiana, people. Without me.
First of all, why would you want to go to Montreal in the winter? Second of all, it's Bloomington, while nice, is still in Indiana. So.
Yeah. I've ruined it.
Oh.
I've ruined my...
You're not supposed to dump it out in the middle of the pipe that forms a crust over the top.
I don't know what I've done wrong
Right.
with my... I don't have a tool anymore, and I'll get it in a minute. So, my wife, she travels so much. I'm her ride. I'm just used to it. It's a routine thing. And I warm up the car beforehand, pop in, drive her to O'Hare, drop her off, give her a kiss, get in the car, go home. I don't take a coat. And sometimes, like yesterday, I'd stay in my shorts, because why not, right? I'm not going to get out of my car except for half a second, then I'm going right back home. So I did that, and on the way from the airport, I noticed my car is drifting to the left a little bit, and then my little light for my tire comes on. I'm like, oh, that spare again. And so I go and I stop to get gas, and I look down, and there's a bolt, not a nail, a bolt, like a Frankenstein bolt, stuck in my wheel, and I'm like, holy crap. And I'm like, I'm going to have to change the tire. And then I'm like, I'm in shorts, and I don't have a coat, and I've never rednecked a tire on a four-wheel drive that's got a lift on it. I have no idea how to... I was like, what am I going to do? So
Wait, was it flat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did I not explain that?
Well, you just said it was drifting to the left. I thought it might have been low.
The tire was quite low.
But not flat.
Not flat, but it was pretty low.
All right.
Which is, I mean, okay, that's good news because that means I've got damn good tires, you know? Because it was a freaky weird bolt. So, took that in, got to change. Fascinating talk, I'm sure.
Where'd you go?
For all of you listening, Sam's Milwaukee Auto Diagnostics.
Oh,
Sam.
that's a mistake.
No, it's not. I love those guys.
RAS
Don't you stop right
Tires. RAS Tires on Elston.
now. I'm not going to go to a tire store. How much do you think it would have cost at RAS Tires?
For you have a nice truck. Probably $150.
It cost me $25. They just plugged the damn hole.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, if they plugged the hole, it would have been $25.
Anyway,
But if you have a bolt in your tire, I would suggest buying a new one so that you don't have the same thing next week.
no.
Which, by the way, next week, join us for the same conversation when
So
his
this
tire
for car
blows.
talk, click and clack
You
car
got a bolt
talk.
in your tire. I love that show.
Okay, let's not reminisce.
All right.
We're not old men yet.
All right.
And so then I made an appointment at the Toyota place because I've had this thing flashing on my dash, and it's a 4-wheel drive symbol. And I looked it up in the handbook, and it goes, "You're gonna die. Everything's gonna fall apart." And I'm like, "Oh crap!" So I made the appointment. Well, I couldn't get one until Tuesday, so I'm online in the FJ Cruiser forums. That's right. And turns out I accidentally hit a button, a drive track button. I don't know what that is, but I accidentally hit it when I was cleaning my dash or something. So I just turned it off.
Wait, does it blink intermittently?
It was blinking.
Regularly or not?
How
regular?
else can it blink except intermittently?
No, did it blink?
That was blinking solidly forever. No, that's not a blink. A blink is like this.
Yeah, but did it keep blinking, or did it just every once in a while it would blink?
That kept blinking.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, everything's gonna fall out. So anyway, that's my whole week right
wow.
there. That is it. Other than that, I've done nothing but
All right.
work.
Now, the other thing. Now,
And-
have you gotten
and-
a lot of work done?
Actually, I did do something else. I have got a ton of work done. I did make a mistake eating out yesterday.
Where at?
So when my wife travels, I take the opportunity to go
eat crap.
and- yeah. So I have a thing for Buffalo Wild Wings. I just let everybody knows it. I love it. I go there because it's loud and stupid, and there's a weird silence to that. And I just sit there by myself at the bar and eat wings and drink beer, and just sit there. That's what I love, being alone at Buffalo Wild Wings. But I couldn't get a seat yesterday, and I was tired, and I didn't want to wait. And so I walked down to the Tilted Kilt. I'd never been to the Tilted Kilt before.
Really?
I assumed it was just beer and burgers and stuff like that. I did not know it's Scottish Hooters.
That's what it is.
It was. I was uncomfortable
Why?
for a second or two. So
He overcame.
yeah,
his
I
uncomfortableness.
got over that real quick. But I mean, it is clearly exploiting those poor girls who are obviously in their spare time do a lot of yoga and stuff.
Well,
So-
they're well paid.
Yeah, are they? I'm sure. I'm sure they're got a 401k, and it was ridiculous. It was nothing but dudes in the whole place, and Russian mafia guys were having a birthday party, so it was terrifying, and it was just dumb. Their tequila sucked.
Is it the same tequila as anywhere else?
Yes, it is. I don't know why it was different. It tastes like perfume for some reason. We have nothing left to talk about. Thank you for our show today. We'll be
No, I
back
do.
next week when I talk
All right.
about the bolt that's still in my car and how I've gone yet again to
The
the
bolt
Tilted
has now
Kilt.
become a big hole in his tire.
It's just- my tire just flew away, knocked
No,
over another car.
I mean, you want to just no? You want to move over to food? The food.
Do we not have any other weird ass shit to talk
I
about?
don't have any. I don't have any miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous.
Unless you want to talk politics.
No, that's at the end when we can yell a lot.
All right.
We go out on politics.
All right.
So-
So food. So for those of you who don't know, I am now reviewing restaurants on WGN on Bob Surratt's morning show. Bob Surratt in the morning on WGN,
This
and
is the face of jealousy.
we had Bob Surratt on our podcast just a few weeks ago. If you go to our website at beatcopsguide.net, you can see our old podcast, and we had not the last one of 2019, but the one right around Christmas. We had Bob Surratt show up. So you could just search for it. And so this morning
What a
I
nice
went there.
guy he is, by the way.
He's a very nice guy.
You know, I've met other radio hosts, and to a man, every other radio host I've ever met, besides you and me, were dickheads. They're just dickheads.
Yeah.
And Bob Surratt's like the most wholesome, just down to earth.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
His show's
known
not
him
about
for-
shock jocking, man. It's
No, and so he invited me to come on and review restaurants. So what I've been doing is first of all I told him I used to do the same thing. Well, we would do a movie and a restaurant on his last show, And because Dean Richards is on WGN, and we didn't want to step on any toes, he just said, let's stick to food for a while until we see if it's going to bother Dean Richards to talk about movies. But I don't know if that's the case. I just made that up. I mean, Dean Richards is on
starting some shit right here.
Dean Richards is. I just realized that might actually start some shit. Yeah. Dean Richards is on WGN and is a famous movie reviewer and celebrity reporter. So
and Dave's arch enemy.
I'm assuming he didn't want to step on any toes, and that's why we did it. But so we started talking about restaurants. So I told him, I said, listen, I'll put out the word. Let's do it like we did. We're going to do the Beat Cop Sky television show, where we get police officers to recommend restaurants, and then we go and review them, and we'll talk about the restaurants, and I'll talk about the police officers who recommend them.
Yeah,
so
that's a good deal.
Like today, I reviewed a place called Route 66.
In case you don't know, we've done this before.
Yeah,
we had a book out. There's a picture of it. Right. Whoops, hey, it's right. It's right there. That's the book.
And also, I'm sorry, let me go off on a tangent again. I should have started off the show. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the button that's down there somewhere. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. Our plan is to do this every week and then maybe add up some I
like the videos in the car. I like those.
Yeah, some smaller videos where we go and eat or go to a restaurant or something like that. Well, but those are going to be, I was thinking those should be short videos, because they say to build an audience, you need like 5-minute videos.
I am of the opinion that they should be even shorter. You know, I want 1-minute videos.
I mean, that's fine, but the problem with that is editing, of course, and we don't have a whole lot of time to do it. So, but
I'll edit them.
So I mean, that's our plan. So please subscribe and hit the notifications.
Tell all your friends and give us money.
Yeah, sure. Send us money.
Why not?
All right.
Everybody else gets money. Why shouldn't we get money?
So getting back to the review. So like today, I reviewed a place called Route 66 Pizza, where Bull and I went down at 101st and Indianapolis, just north of the Indiana state line,
where the mafia leaves their bodies.
And it was recommended by actually one of the officers that works for me, Officer Evan Solano.
Hello, Officer Evan Solano.
You're right. And so
shaking.
When I mentioned him on the radio today, I said, yeah, Officer Evan Solano recommended this, who, by the way, was just voted Officer of the Month, along with his partner, Sammy Encarnacion, by our 16th District Citizen Advisory Board or Council or whatever they're called. So, I mean, he's a really good police officer, and it got me thinking that when I get these recommendations from people, I'm going to start trying to find out a little something about them so that I can talk about them as well as the restaurant.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
You know, police officers, all you ever hear about them is if they get in trouble, you know, well, except for the guy that got shot this week. The media is covering that.
Which one? Which guy?
There's a police officer that got shot. He got shot in the arm down in the 11th District. He drove up basically on a murder in progress.
Ooh.
Jumped out of the car, tried to arrest a guy. The guy shot him in the arm and took off, made it to his car and escaped. So the first police officers on the scene got this, I think it was a sergeant, got him in the car and we're taking him down to Cook County Hospital. And as they're driving to the hospital, they see the offender in front of them on the expressway. At which point, the officers, the guy who's driving asked the guy who shot, should we just go to the hospital? And the guy said, hell no, grab him. So they ended up, he's got a bullet in his arm, or maybe it went through, but he's shot in the arm, and they still made the arrest. The guy's like a superhero. And so they
bled all over that dude.
Well, you know, I have to say, I've taken the Chicago Police LEMAR training, which is our first aid training, and they've been giving it to just about everybody. And we got our first aid kits, which, by the way, when you take this, there are some things that are terrible. There's many things that are terrible about war, but there's some things that are good about war. And like this war in Iraq, scientific studies have, you know, because of treatments of wounds and stuff for soldiers, they've come up with this quick clot gauze that they give us in our first aid kit. You put in the gunshot wound, it helps stop the bleeding very fast.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that they put that on the bullet wound, and they thought it was safe, and they went ahead and
have like
and grabbed
a little
the guy.
canister of some kind of weird expando foam. You know,
Yeah, like from Kingsman. They used that in Kingsman, that idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, right then. That's probably where I got it.
So so we talked about Route 66 pizza. We went down there. I had the roasted chicken, which was absolutely phenomenal. And I was telling him it took a little longer to make than you would normally expect because Route 66 cooks everything fresh when you order it. That's when they start cooking it. It's not half baked in the back, waiting for somebody to order it.
And I had the Hawaiian burger.
Yes, which was like the Big Kahuna burger from Pulp Fiction. But.
Yeah, it was burger, bacon, and barbecue sauce and pineapple slices.
Right.
And it was good. What can you say? It was pretty good. I don't have anything to compare it to, so I don't know if it was better than any other Hawaiian burger or not.
Well, I think what most people would think is they would see fruit on a burger and not want to order it unless you thought it was really good.
It's good. You should order it. That place is tiny, though. If you go in there, order ahead of time and just reach in through the front door and pick up your food and pay. Don't try to stand in there or anything.
Yeah, it was very small, but it was our kind of place in that it was it looked like a shack. It is a shack. It's the kind of place. I mean, the name is painted on the walls. It's the kind of place that you would not think had good food unless somebody told you who'd already been there. You would drive by it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't go. Like, for instance, my wife, she'd be like, "We're not going in there," and I'm like, "No, we got to go in there." And she's like, "Nope." But now that we've been there, we've pre-gamed it. She would go, "Okay, I'll try it once," So,
yeah.
You know what else I like? This is a weird thing. As we were sitting in the car because it was cold, man, eating our stuff, a guy walked out. Or before we got our food, a guy walked out carrying books. It was a cook carrying books. Went to his car, put the books away, and came back. So I just appreciate there's a literate person in the back. I like
people
that.
there were very nice. They were
they were great.
And now, like when I go to places, unless I've been invited, I don't tell them that I'm there to review them. So like I didn't say anything to the staff, and they were very nice, very talkative. We would ask goofy questions because that's the way we are, and they didn't get pissed off or nothing. And
you say goofy, but really we were dad joking the crap out of them. Is what we're doing.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
that's the way I am. I'm like that with everybody. I met a guy today. I went down to WGN's to do the review, and there's a guy named Trice Taylor who's a security guard.
What a name!
Yeah, I know.
What a name!
All right, his name is Trice, Tryce, and Taylor is his last name. All right, this kid, look like he's 20, 21. I mean, a kid to me. And all right, so when you see somebody with a name like that, what would you ask somebody if you saw their name tag Trice Taylor?
Is your sister named Deuce?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. I asked him if his middle initial was T.
Oh.
Or N.
Or N, yeah. T and oh my God, I would change my name to Nedward. My middle name would be Nedward.
Or Nicholas.
Yeah. TNT. TNT.
I said I don't.
I'd walk around saying dynamite all the damn time.
Or Ignatius. The middle name.
Why did it take me so long to get that? So sad. I'm getting so old. My Roomba committed suicide today.
What are you talking about? You just got it.
It's Christmas. Fine. I fixed it. It's fine. But it ran into
the robotic vac.
Yeah.
All right, it
ran into a chair, and part of it just fell out. Like this capsule just.
I thought it was supposed to not run into furniture.
No, it runs into everything. It bumps into everything, man, and not slowly, like at full speed. Just pow.
But doesn't it learn it after a while? It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, we change up, but all the chairs move all the time. Like we don't put them back in exactly the same spot, right?
Well, I do.
Your dining room chair is in exactly the same spot.
I guess not. Yeah, right. It wouldn't go into my dining room. I would think the living room and bedrooms are always the same.
Mm.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about the dining. That's right. Your dining room is connected, so. All right, so what'd you have
anyway, that's our whole week, so thank you for coming.
Was it like the Blues Brothers where they get to the city hall at the end of the movie and the car just comes apart like one of those?
It was kind of like that, yeah. It just plop. Oh, this whole big... And I look at it and go, oh, my God, I'm going to have to send it in. Then I picked it up like, nope, it's like Legos. Just pop it right in there.
Does it say anything or just stop?
Yeah, I got a thing on my iPhone that said, well, I named my Roomba Roombalicious. So it says, Roombalicious has ended the job stuck. And I was like, what?
What you should do is you should get a crying baby sound that will pop up every time this happens. So it's like
do that.
it's like it hurt itself.
There's somebody made one. Somebody made their reprogrammed their Rimbus that when it bumps into thing, it says curse words. So as it's going around the house today, it's like, "Fuck, shit, damn," which I would love.
All right, there goes our child thing for the
Yeah,
YouTube
if your
video.
children are listening to the show, you're a terrible parent.
All right, so the other thing I did was what I started doing was when Bob Surratt first started the show on January 6th, he started talking. This is his first time doing mornings in decades, so he complains about how an early morning is and getting in and stuff. And he made a comment about not getting breakfast or not bringing food or something like that. So my first week there, I brought bagels. We reviewed that New York bagel in Biley. And
What a suck up.
and I said, well, since you haven't brought anything for your staff, I figured you should do it.
Oh,
So
my God.
today I had gotten Molly's Cupcakes. Molly's Cupcakes down at 1150 South Wabash, right by 11 City Diner. And I went and got cupcakes. They gave me like a dozen cupcakes to bring down to the studio, which was really nice. Then I bought some for my kids. And
Where are we?
I don't know. We should be on there.
Oh, wait.
Ah,
It's not happening.
we're still on Facebook for some reason.
I don't see us on Facebook. I want to start a watch party, and am I just in the wrong place? Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen, when we give you a terrible show. This is the best time to go to the bathroom right now.
Yeah, right. This really sucks because YouTube was the one I wanted to really. For some reason, we logged out of YouTube. I don't know why.
But shouldn't I?
Facebook should still be gone.
I don't see it.
All right. I didn't record the audio of this either.
Maybe I'm in the wrong place. Hang on a minute. Maybe I'm in the wrong place.
I'm sorry.
Oh, whoops. Oh, here. Wait, here it is. It's on David Haynes. Oh, David Haynes is live now.
Oh, it's supposed to be on. Damn it.
Well, you know what? We're gonna have to do it on David Haynes. Or do you want to start over on?
Well, let's keep it. It's on. We'll just link to it from Facebook. Yeah, I see it here. It's on my timeline. All right. Well, I'm sorry about that. For those of you who we'll get it. I knew we couldn't get it right the first time. That's for sure. All right, and hopefully YouTube is. All right, I don't know if we. So I think the whole first half of the show wasn't on YouTube, which really sucks. But if you're joining us on YouTube now, with the Beat Cops Guide will. That sucks, man. I had this all set up. We'll get it right next time.
No, we won't. We'll never get it right. We'll never do it. We're bad at that part of it.
What's funny is I sat down here yesterday and made sure that everything was hooked up correctly, and then when I went on it today, I thought it was all hooked up to the same spot. But apparently, you got to go through the entire process of setting it up. You can't just set it up and leave it. Because what happened is it automatically, I guess, after a while, logged this off of YouTube, and it automatically, after a while, defaulted to the my personal Facebook page instead of to the Beat Cops Guy webpage. So I'm sorry. I'll try. We're getting a little bit more right. I mean, we've got I hopefully got.
Well, I started a watch party, so.
Yeah. So if you're on YouTube, if you're joining us on YouTube. You can see the first part of it on Facebook on the Dave Haynes. Just look for Dave Haynes, and I'll probably attach it to Beat Cops Guide if I can.
I think we really need to market ourselves as the worst podcast in Chicago. That's where, or maybe we should call ourselves Furnace Talk, or Chris's Problems with Tires. We can call it that.
Well, now I'm getting messages all of a sudden.
I'll just talk to you guys while Dave reads his phone.
No, there's people calling from Facebook. But anyway, so that sucks.
Well, I went this week to the Dandy Crown, which is in 4,000 block of Milwaukee. Not the 4,000. Like the 1,000 block of Milwaukee. It's downtown. And it is a sort of kind of a British joint. It's not really a pub. It's... Well, that's... My phone is ringing, and it's my son, and I can't answer it. So I don't know what to do right now. Hey, I'm on the radio.
So he's going to answer it. That's right. Hey, what the hell? If you're,
you know what? I want people to know that they're here. They're part of my life. Okay, they're involved. You're embedded here in the land of Bull Garlington. I was currently wearing a T-shirt. I'm wearing a T-shirt with my face on it, which I did not do on purpose. I did that because I just reach into the drawer and I find whatever I find and put it on. And which is interesting because in just a few moments I'm going to have to go to the grocery store and I'm going to go through line wearing a shirt with my name, with my face on it, which is going to be interesting. I'll see what happens. Maybe somebody notices, maybe they don't. I don't know.
Yeah. Wow.
So anyway, the Dandy Crown.
Yeah.
And it's a very small bar, and it is and it's just it's really, really, like, I don't know, cute's not the right word, but it's kind of around cute somehow. It's they have a great whiskey selection. They have a little room upstairs that was really nice. I went there for a cognac tasting, and that was fantastic. And boy, can you just I had some cognac, a 40-year-old cognac that was aged in these Japanese oak barrels that are made from oak trees that are 200 years old. I felt bad because I'm like, oh, no, shut up. That's
you
cool.
You just destroyed the climate.
I know. It's like I'm killing a tree, but damn, did it taste good, man. It was very, very good.
How much was it?
They didn't talk to me about prices. It wasn't that kind of thing.
Oh.
I was helping a sales guy put together his patter, you know?
Yeah.
He was kind of booting it up right there.
All right. On my Facebook page, Kim Chelos is there. I think she's in Florida.
She's in Florida now. Yeah.
She says to say hello and asks why we're smoking pipes. We have, as far as
they're better. That's why.
As far as I'm concerned, in the wintertime, I always smoke less cigars because it's cold and my wife won't let me smoke cigars in the house, so I don't want to sit outside just to have a cigar. And she doesn't mind the pipe, so I have pipes. But I actually, this year, I don't think I've had a cigar in the last 2 months.
Yeah, I had my first one on Sunday. It had been a long time.
Just
Dave did it was maybe the middle of last year. You kind of went pipe.
Yeah, well, I started finding really nice tobaccos that I like.
Yeah.
And it's a lot cheaper. It's,
in the long run, it's way cheaper. And here's a cool thing. According to the federal government, smoking a pipe, if you do it correctly, which means don't inhale that crap, all right, is not as bad for you as other tobacco products.
And a poll done by Monmouth and CNN shows that smoking a pipe is much cooler than smoking cigarettes or cigars.
And oftentimes, if you're smoking a pipe and you're sitting next to someone else who's smoking a pipe, if you're wearing a giant blue hat, you're already cooler.
Yeah. I could be wrong on who did that poll. You have to look it up.
It was the Garlington Institute of Garlington. Is what it is.
All right. So, do we go anywhere? Did we go anywhere else to eat this week? I didn't.
Well, I mean, I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and I went to.
That doesn't count.
I went. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it does, man. Because
we talked about Tilted Kilt.
Went to the Tilted Kilt. Thank God my wife doesn't watch this broadcast.
Talk about Buffalo Wild Wings. There was one other one. I'm sorry.
I was at City's Edge. Always a pleasure.
What'd you have at City's Edge?
I had ribs finally because I went there before and they were out. So I went there and had ribs. The ribs are great. It's a dry rub, but you can get sauce with it, and it is very, very good. Their beer selection is really good. Their service is great. It should be my neighborhood bar.
Devon and Central.
Yeah, Devon and Central. Used to be Mowers, Irish pub, and somebody came in. Here's what I learned: there are companies that go into old Irish pubs and rip everything out and resell it to people that are starting new Irish pubs. So if you're sitting in an Irish, like let's say we're at Vaughn's, all right, here in our neighborhood, used to be an old German bar, but if you go in now, you look around, this is an Irish bar, and that means that they bought all the stuff to turn it into an Irish bar. And so those booths and the bar part and all the things that look Irish have probably been in 3 or 4 other bars before they made it there.
You know, I always wanted at Devon and Central. Devon and Milwaukee in Chicago. There used to be the old toboggan slides. I don't know why I'm thinking about this now, other than you mentioned.
Well, there's
Irish,
snow.
You mentioned Irish pubs, but there used to be these toboggan. When I was a kid, we'd go riding toboggans at Devon and Milwaukee. And years ago, they tore down the slides because, first of all, in Chicago, you know, with the way the weather works, it's either absolutely freezing with no snow on the ground, or it's
40 degrees and there's 9 inches of snow.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, but it was very rare that the toboggan slides would work. Although now, you know, over the years they kind of fell into disrepair and eventually they got torn down. Nowadays, with the way they can make snow, they probably could have figured out some way to do it.
They have a ski slope in Dubai.
But right, yeah. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because the field house next to the toboggan slides is famous and it's still there. And
I drive by that all the time.
As a kid, I have fond memories of going sledding because it's also a sledding hill, which is still there. And it used to be the toboggan slides, and you'd go out and you'd get freezing, and you would go into the field house. The field house would have hot chocolate, but they had this huge middle of the room fireplace.
Ah, okay.
And it's in the middle of the room. It's probably 8 feet around, and they have they put the wood in the middle of it, and the flames go up, and there's a chimney right in the center of the room. And so you could stand all the way around this fire and put your gloves on. The brick.
It's got to still be there, right?
It's still there, yeah.
It's
a fantastic, cool place. And I'm like,
oh, it's warm place.
If I could buy that place and turn it into a bar, I think that would be phenomenal.
Oh, man, yeah.
You have a big bar. You have a couple of chairs.
What would you call it?
Well, I don't know. What did they call bars in the old days where you would
taverns?
Nah, but I mean like the old Middle English places where you could actually sleep upstairs or something.
An inn?
An inn, yeah. I don't know. Dave's Inn.
Dave's Inn.
I don't know.
No, I don't. No, it doesn't.
No.
Anyway, that's our show.
All right, so, well, we don't have any other wrestling. We can move to video.
That's what I did.
We only got 10 minutes. Let's talk about video. Did you see any videos? I saw the gentleman.
Jack Diddley. I did. Okay, yeah, all right, I did.
Oh, and
you first.
I'm sorry.
You're first.
Wait, I have a very quick one. Before we get into the gentleman, I have a very quick one. A few weeks ago, Bull brought up an idea about Star Wars. And I've been meaning to talk about this, but since we didn't have a live show, I didn't bring it up. And we started kind of bouncing ideas off, but he brought it up about how they should do fake documentaries about Star Wars, like about how the weapons for the stormtroopers pull up and to the right because they gave out a lousy contract. That son of a bitch, Jon Favreau, stole your idea.
No way.
Swear to God.
No way. Jon Favreau listens to our show?
No, yes, he does. And he stole
Fuck
our
you, Jon Favreau. Yeah. That is copyright material. My wife's a lawyer.
No, he didn't do a full-on documentary, but there was a scene in Episode 8 of The Mandalorian. Did you saw Episode 8?
Yeah, I saw it.
All right, we're up to date on Mandalorian. In Episode 8, after the stormtroopers capture Baby Yoda, and they're waiting to go into town, they're sitting out on the edge of the desert or whatever, and they're shooting at cans. You remember? And the guy's like, he's shooting at the can, he's missing, and he's looking at his gun, and he's tapping it, you know, like and he shoots again, and he's missing it, and it was like he's hitting in the same spot but missing the can. And I'm like, that's Bull's idea.
My idea, damn it. I'm a trendsetter.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great. You just do the documentary, just like a full-on, like, Vice-level investigative journalism thing about the company that makes all the firearms for the stormtroopers. Can't hit anything. And their armor it brings the laser in.
Yeah,
know?
yeah. You're wearing bright white armor
Yeah.
that doesn't protect you.
Might as well have a target
Right,
like
exactly.
over your heart.
Exactly. You know, there's
Stupid
a reason.
Star Wars.
There's a reason why the British stop wearing red coats when they go into battle.
Right. So I was kind of desperate for a movie the other day, and I was just, you know, I have a routine every day at lunch. I sit down in the living room. I leave my beautiful office. I go in the living room. I have something to eat. I watch a little YouTube or TV, and then I go back to work. So yesterday, I sat down. I'm like, you know what? I think I want to watch a movie. And so I'm looking. I can't find anything. And I see this one called Motherless Brooklyn, based on a book. And it is Ed Norton and everybody else. The cast is incredible. And it's a 1950s detective thing. Actually, 1940s detective thing. And I was like, okay, this looks like it's going to be good. It's fantastic. It is perfect film noir. Absolutely
Motherless
perfect.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, absolutely perfect film noir. But here's the trick. Here's what I did, and I'm learning this. I turned all the color off, so I watched it in black and white. It's amazing. Like, it makes it 1,000 times better. It's like you've discovered a movie from the 50s that you didn't know existed. That's how good this is as a film noir. The story is incredible because it comes from a novel that was award-winning, beautiful novel. But the film is absolutely top-notch. And I've done this before. I did it with Blade Runner. Turns out Blade Runner is a beautiful black and white movie. And I did it with L.A. Confidential.
Oh yeah, I love L.A. Confidential.
Yeah, L.A. Confidential is if you watch it in black and white, that movie is as if they shot it in the 50s. That's how good it is. The director of that actually wanted it to be as if he had gone back in time and used the same equipment and everything to film the show and the same techniques to film it, and that's why it's like that. But I got to tell you, man, Motherless Brooklyn is worth watching. It's really good. The music is incredible. The simulacrum aspect of it is fantastic. Alec Baldwin is in it. Bruce Willis is in it. What's the guy, the Green Hornet from Spider-Man? What's his name? Willem Dafoe is in it. And Billy Carnevale, who is still underrated as an actor, from Boardwalk, is in it. And it's just the point of view is different. The lead character has a wonderful flaw. He's got Tourette syndrome. But he doesn't know that he has Tourette's. Like, there's not a name for it, and it's just it could so easily have been a terrible comedy, but it's not. It's really, really good. I know that I'm doing a lot of uhs and ands and everything, and probably should write this down at some point. But for the love of God, watch that movie. It's worth every second.
All right. Well, I went and saw The Gentleman in the studio or in the theater this week.
What the hell is that?
The Gentleman is a crime thriller starring Hugh Grant.
Oh yeah, it's
Charlie Hunnam,
Guy Ritchie, right?
Guy Ritchie movie,
Yeah.
and Matthew McConaughey, and it is. I had a lot of fun, and there's a couple of interesting things about this movie. First of all, the story is fairly formulaic. It's a crime thriller. It's about a guy who's played Mickey Pearson, who's played by Matthew McConaughey, who has built up a huge weed empire in England, and is now trying to get out. So he wants to sell all his stuff off to some other criminal organization. And there's a little bit of discussion about, well, is it worth the same amount of money because it's going to be legal soon and this all that. So. It's a story itself is a little formulaic, but first of all, the actors are just unbelievably enjoyable.
Yeah,
and they take it and they look. It's cool to watch a movie where everybody looks like they're having fun making it, and they're all acting kind of against type. Colin Farrell is in it. He plays a coach. He coaches all these kids.
That's not Colin Farrell.
Yeah, and he's like a nerdy with big thick glasses. And he's kind of a very down sort of he plays down. He's not out there yelling, screaming. It was, with the exception of Matthew McConaughey, who plays the same character Matthew McConaughey plays all the time.
Matthew McConaughey. Hey.
Yeah, and but Hugh Grant plays this corrupt reporter who's trying to extort money out of the criminal organization. Charlie Hunnam.
Who?
He was in Sons of Anarchy. He was Jackson Sons of Anarchy, and he plays
The guy with
another.
the scar?
No, that's Chibs. I forget his real name. But this guy's the young, handsome guy.
Oh, well.
And so he plays Mickey Pearson's sort of right-hand man. And it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of comedy. Michelle Dockery, who's another, she was in Downton Abbey.
She's great.
Yeah, she played Mickey Pearson's wife and was phenomenal. So it's I just had an enjoyable time. And I'll tell you, part of the reason why I had so much fun, the audience in the theater. There was a couple of guys that were just, I don't know if they were smoking dope while they were watching it.
But sure they were.
They were laughing at all the funny scenes, but laughing really loud. It actually added to the movie a little bit. It wasn't like somebody making noise in a movie. It was pretty funny.
One of my earliest editors is listening to us right now.
Really?
Yeah, the guy I worked for
improved.
Yeah. Hey Sal, how you doing? This guy said one of the coolest things to me one time. I was like, I'd kind of like to come on staff at the newspaper, and I had left the newspaper. I was writing freelance, and he goes, "Well, it could happen because I can teach somebody how to be a reporter, but you can't teach somebody how to write." And he goes, "You know how to write." And I was like, I was walking on clouds for a week after that. I still think about it sometimes. It was the best compliment I ever got.
That's nice.
Anyway, that's our show.
All right, one more thing.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I was reading a story today in the Daily Caller about a new HBO miniseries coming out called, starting next month, March 16th, called The Plot Against America.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
I love that book.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I read it.
And you know what really pissed me off about this story? Didn't mention the book. They didn't mention that it was based on a book called The Plot Against America, and now I should have looked up the author.
Well, they'll do that. They'll do that in the marketing and stuff. But why would they mention it in the show?
No, I'm talking about in this story on the Daily Caller.
Oh.
They're writing a story about this, and The Plot Against America is essentially a counterfactual, alternate history book about what would have happened if Charles Lindbergh had run for president in 1940 and beat
Jesus Christ,
Franklin Roosevelt. Which was actually, it almost happened. It was, had Charles Lindbergh
he would have won.
He would have won.
Oh, yeah, he was
He
super
chose
popular.
not to run. He was a superhero at that time. And it's very interesting. And he was also a big fan of Germany's. He was a big fan of Hitler.
That was weird, right?
But it was because of their Air Force.
You should watch that. We should watch that. One episode of that and one episode of The Man in the High Castle. I keep going back and forth like that.
Yeah. So that's an interesting video coming out, and
I'm telling you, there is a Nor resurgence, and that TV show, Babylon Berlin, which if you have not watched that on German Netflix, holy God, go watch that show. It's the way they resurrect the mid 30s Berlin is insanely good. Just before World War II, and then The Man in the High Castle, same period in a weird way, just after World War II. But there's a lot of the simulacrum stuff that's going on, this verisimilitude TV that's happening like that.
Yeah,
I think
I'm a big alternate history fan. So.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think that really is our show. And
we done already?
Yeah.
We didn't talk about Jack.
Yeah. So
I don't want to go.
I would first of all, I apologize to people on YouTube that the first half of the show I don't think went over on YouTube. We will get it right next week. We're trying a new thing, so hopefully we'll get it right. Also, I accidentally put this on my timeline instead of on the Beat Cops Guy Facebook page.
Be friends with Dave.
Yeah.
I want to plug a business before we go. We're not getting money from these guys. All right, this is not an endorsement thing in that regard, but there's a new company called Bookshop. .org, and they are a independent. Think of them as an independent Amazon. That doesn't mean Amazon's independent too. Think of them as an alternate Amazon, but they only work with real book publishers like Ingram and Baker and Taylor through small bookstores. They get all of their books from small bookstores. Independent bookstores, and every time you buy a book, a little bit of the money goes towards a main fund for helping independent bookstores. So you could get, for instance, I don't know, my book, the full English, or the Gravity Harp, by going to bookshop.org and looking up Bull Garlington, or any book you want to get. If you're not going to get it in a library, which you should, visits to the library in 2019 eclipsed people going to the movies.
Wow.
More people went to libraries in 2019 than went to movies. But you should buy stuff on bookshop.org.
All right, and please, if you're on YouTube, subscribe down there. We're going to start doing some more shorter videos, plus the hour long podcast on Fridays.
Did not feel like an hour.
It did. It was an hour. All right. So have a good week. We'll see you next week.
You heard?